Hi guys, it's Cliff and Robin. It's Sunday afternoon, and we're on here again, and we'd like to talk about today past relationships, relationship issues, things like that.
First thing, I believe all relationships have to have, whether you're married or not, but especially when you are married, is trust. You have got to have trust between each other. I mean, totally, or you're spinning your wheels. You're not going to do well. So you have to take measures that will let your partner know that you trust them, and they have to, it's reciprocal. They have to do that for you.
I think trust, though, sometimes when you come from past relationships and you kind of bring that baggage with you, you kind of think about, well, he or she did this, or they said this, or is this pattern going to repeat itself? Was it my fault? Was it their fault? Some of those things come into play, which I think it's not a fair playing ground at that point. You kind of have to hit the reset button and start on a true, fair, I don't know, what would you say, the playing ground where I come in with no commitments, no.
Well, let me speak to my theory, which we've discussed in the past, which is the backpack theory. Everybody, especially later in life, you have some luggage, or some baggage, as people say, but it's like carrying a backpack and all the things you put in it or take out of it. And one of the things I know I packed around for a long time was a level of guilt because I didn't feel like maybe I did certain things well enough, and I felt bad about it, things like that. Or, it can be jealousy, it can be a lot of things. But certain things that are dragging you down or keeping you from being your best person have to be taken out of that backpack and left by the side of the road.
Yeah, you kind of have to take it out, leave it, and start fresh. I think also when you come into a relationship, past relationships kind of haunt you. And not just marriages, but they can stem back from, when you dated years ago. They come into play and make you feel, like you said, maybe you're jealous, maybe your resentment comes into play where you look at that person and then you kind of feel like, how can another person not do that? I mean, I think when I met you, it took a lot of time for me to realize that you were not, the person I was with before. You were a person that had totally different agendas, totally different views. I think what helped us a lot is we grew up in the same type of household. We came from parents that, loved us and kind of, made our lives good and kept us going on a good path.
Nurturing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you want to do. And you have to nurture a relationship too.
Absolutely. A lot of things that I think a lot of people at our age will be concerned about is things like the guilt or regret. You regret things you feel like you should have done differently. And I know I experienced a certain level of jealousy when I first met Robin, and we were solid and get on good ground, but I was a little jealous because other men, basically, other men would try to be talking to Robin, and I would be like, no, because we had already started a pretty serious relationship. But that comes into like where you get to feeling jealous, and then why are you jealous? Things like that. I started asking myself, why am I jealous? I cannot blame those guys. She is an attractive woman in my mind, and I think in others. And so they're going to try, but sometimes I just didn't want to even know about it. I don't need to hear all about it. But I don't know, sometimes she would tell me. But you got to kind of differentiate, because sometimes someone at your workplace or just out in the world that you know pretty well will tend to be a little flirty for whatever reason. And you have to recognize when that is and how serious it is, and it's usually not serious at all. But I have to have confidence, and I do, in our relationship because we do so much for one another.
Yeah, confidence is big. You have to kind of realize you are your own person, and whatever you came in with um, from your past relationships are not necessarily what's going to happen in this relationship. I know it's funny because we would go out for girls' night out like religiously every Thursday for drinks. And for whatever reason, a lot of us were single at one time. And we'd sit around and it was more like group therapy. I mean, we would all talk about, what was going on, who were we dating, just things that, I don't know, as you get older, your choices are different, your lifestyle is different. And I think sometimes we would laugh because men don't realize when girls go out, we're not looking at other men. We're not, wanting to date anybody or hit on anybody.
Maybe.
We are literally there. Well, at least my girlfriends and I were, to just talk, have fun, enjoy that night out, relive some of our glory days probably, but honestly, just to have fun. And like I said, it was almost like therapy night. I think that's what kept a lot of us going. The trust issues, I think, are I don't know, self things that you have issues with on your own. You have to get through. I think I never really had trust issues. I just had issues of what was the next step, what was going to happen next. I kind of wanted to figure out things on a slower pace. Cliff had been divorced a little longer than myself, so he was more on a faster pace. We kind of hit some common ground, and I think that once we did that and we kind of said, hey, we're not gonna bring old ghost into this relationship. We are starting out fresh. I'm gonna tell you my fears, you're gonna tell me yours, and we are going to get this, to a level of what we want and what we expect from each other.
And I think in that same vein, like of being around other people who may have some kind of impact or influence on you. But I feel really good about our relationship because, and it goes back to things we talked about in some of the other discussions, which was like communication. You have to, and if it was something like really minute, why even talk about it? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Some things you can just hone in on and get yourself stuck on things. I think part of being older and being in different relationships are learning to let things go easier too. I think myself, there were things I wanted to say, well, why'd you do that? Or why'd you do this? And I had to realize that I had to just go, okay, that's you. It's not me. It's probably not how I would have done it, but that's okay. It works for you. But I think it takes time, it takes time to get there. I think when you get married again, you think, okay, we've hit the go button and we're married and now what? But it takes days, months, years to get to a point to where you get that feeling of togetherness, and you kind of yin yang, you kind of learn to adapt some things. But I also think that when you're in a relationship like we are, it's peace of mind. It makes you happy. It makes you want to go further.
Well, I think that that here's where we are now, but we've been through, both of us, a previous marriage and maybe other relationships, and it's not. I don't think it's really all that great to like go back and revisit those things.
Yeah, you can't.
It's in the past, and it's like we talk about, I chose you, you chose me. We're still pretty solid right there, as far as.
Well, and it's kind of like, let's move forward. Let's don't go backwards. But anyway, I think this is where we're going to say, we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you're coming back next Sunday. And it's not our first try, but it's our best one.
Absolutely.
Thanks.